As the high watermark of modern Supercross racing, the 2007 Supercross season had all the makings of a classic before it even began. Many things were guaranteed. The world's best riders would return. The tracks would be tougher than ever. And as always, millions of fans around the world would watch from the edge of their seats as the season-long story played out across North America. But some things were not so certain. The most decorated rider in Supercross history, Ricky Carmichael, was leaving the series and entering retirement. Only racing a number of select dates on the season schedule, he knew his time in the spotlight would end. And after carrying the Supercross torch for most of the decade, it was now Ricky's duty to pass it to someone new. Someone who would make a statement. Someone who would usher in a new age of Supercross. Someone named James Stewart. As the opening round was set to kick off in Toronto's Skydome, all the major players were ready. Carmichael, Stewart, and Reed all knew that an early points lead was key to winning a championship.
Just below the CN Tower sits the Rogers Center side of the opening round of the Ant Mobile World Supercross GP, coming your way from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Let's take a look at our Dunlop starting grid for this one here tonight. Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, Chad Reed, the 4, the 7, and 22.
Yeah, now when you get down here, even Jeff DeMint, the line's up 20th. I think that on the outside, he's still got a shot at the whole shot. Big, long straightaway, wide sweeping first turn. So look for maybe a chance of one of the guys further out pulling the whole shot.
The one thing about this starting line as we take a look at Ricky Carmichael is it is a long way down to the first turn.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. They're going to get these 450s. They're going to be wound up pretty tight. They're going to be pushing wide, I think, in the first turn.
Here's James Stewart.
Focused and as confident as I've ever seen him. We talked about earlier how the 3 championship contenders from last year, title contenders, they seem to be really loose. Right now, is to see, great place to judge where they're at with their, with their testing and all that.
Chad Reed, all set, ready to go. 30-second board is up. She'll tip it sideways, make way off the racetrack, and we'll be underway here with the opening round of the Ant Mobile World Supercross GP. Here we go. Comes out with the early lead with the whole shot. Carmichael was quick. So is Chad Reed on the number 22. Reed on that brand new team backed by the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians. And he's giving them something to cheer about here tonight.
These guys opted the triple here outside. This going to be a good race. These guys are both pretty fired up.
But the big question is where's James Stewart? And it looks like James is buried back in about 8th position. There he is right behind VUILLEMIN and his teammate on the 15, Tim Ferry. Meanwhile, Nick Way on the 27, starting to open up a bit of, oh, down goes Carmichael. Carmichael caught a tough block, he's down. And here comes Chad Reed right alongside of Nick Way. And Reed puts the number 22 out front, the Yamaha rider into the lead. Watch the 4.
Comes down on the inside. Chad Reed cuts across hard. Carmichael clipped that tough block just with that left peg and just catapulted him off the bike. Not the way you want to start.
You see James Stewart on the 7. He made the comment, Jeff, that maybe this track is almost too easy and that he might be riding a little too hard, overthinking maybe?
Well, it was easy in the beginning. There was a lot of traction. Now it's getting really rutted up and really loose. A lot of rocks coming up. It's going to make it a whole lot more difficult.
Ferry takes a peek over. He knows his teammate's right there. And Ferry's not going to give the reigning world champ an inch. Here comes Stewart right alongside of his teammate. He's got the spot. Here's Stewart challenging Way. Is the track going away, you think?
Oh, definitely going away. That's going to make it a whole lot tougher. The triples right there, they're just kicking you up so high that, I mean, they're just got big ruts, big cups in the bottom of those.
Stewart Puts the move on Nick Way. So he's up to second. Carmichael, by the way, has worked himself all the way up to fourth. What an impressive run.
Yeah, after being 16th after that first turn crash there.
But this is what everybody in the Rogers Center is watching. Chad Reed and James Stewart.
It seems like each one of these guys have a place where they're faster than the other on the track. Stewart is really quick just before the finish line right here.
You can hear the crowd coming alive. Stewart around the inside.
What an aggressive move. He got in the middle of the turn and actually went for the front wheel. Reed stood it up just enough to keep from having Stewart take him out.
Now, can Chad Reed mount the challenge back?
Oh, he wants this bad. You don't like to lead the whole main event and then give it up. Watch this here.
Oh, here he comes. Almost. Big handful of throttle. Reed back to the inside. Can't get it done. And this Rogers Center crowd is on their feet and cheering. Here he comes.
Here you go.
Go!
Nice move by Chad Reed. Just got a great drive coming across the start. These guys, they're going for it.
Stewart back at him.
And nobody goes down. Amazing riding by both of these guys.
Oh, contact right there. Reed's front wheel right in the back wheel of Stewart, and he's on the track.
Stewart, no, he's back.
Oh, and Stewart goes down. He makes contact. Is that Preston?
Preston, and he's hurt.
Hey, he is hurt. Stewart is going to continue on. Carmichael now moves to second.
I don't even think Stewart looked when he came back on the track. They got together off the takeoff. Woo! What action up here in Canada.
Let's see what happened between Travis Preston and James Stewart.
Right there, Stewart jumps off the side of the track, lands way over here off the track. Doesn't even look, just comes on. Oh, that is a hard hit for both those guys.
Preston just jumped right into him.
It's unbelievable that Stewart didn't get hurt on that.
Reed still leading. Here's the battle for second. Carmichael and Stewart now having at it. Stewart's thinking, I need the points. Carmichael's going, I'm enjoying this. I'm going for second. Remember, Carmichael's got nothing to lose.
Less than a lap and a half to go, too, and Carmichael's back by.
You gotta wonder how much this is gonna be a blow to James Stewart. As he came into this round, everybody was saying, this is really James Stewart's season to lose.
Well, we've said numerous times that he's so fast that the only person that can beat him is himself. And,
is he beating himself here tonight, or is it just that Reed and Carmichael are riding so hard here tonight?
Man, that is tough to say. Reed has put in an unbelievable race tonight. He took it back and forth. He's for real right now.
I just think these guys have upped their game. Chad Reed is prepared and ready to win a championship, and if he rides like this all season, he's going to be tough to beat.
Oh, this is a huge boost for Chad Reed. Man, this is a great start for us. It's going to be a great season.
Chad Reed came into Toronto. A large contingent from the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, his new sponsors, came all the way to Toronto to watch him. And Chad Reed's going to give them a victory in the opening round of the Amp Mobile World Supercross GP.
What a main event.
And Ricky Carmichael, in his final appearance in Toronto, will be on the second step of the podium. And how about James Stewart? He's third, and he knows if he wants to win a chance, and I think he's dinged up. I think Stewart is dinged up and gutted out just to finish third here tonight.
Look how happy Chad Reed is. That's
Stewart
amazing.
is down. I'm telling you, he's dinged up.
Foot definitely. That's the right side. That's where Preston hit him.
And there's Preston to check on him. Preston apparently not happy. I'm not so sure he was checking on him the way he grabbed his helmet like that.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty dangerous move. Stewart didn't even look to his right. Oh, he's mad. He's definitely hot.
He's definitely hot.
Having fun, it's I honestly didn't expect this tonight. I just came here. I wanted to be in the battle, get a good start, and battle. Ricky was there, and we battled, and man, I was so bummed that he crashed. And I love racing that guy, man. I got to take my hat off to that guy. He's a true champ. He races clean, and and I respect that, and we do it back. You know, it's but it's nice to get a win, especially at the first round. Totally unexpected, and man, we got a lot of work to do, but it's a good start.
Yeah, it was a great race. You know, for me, I came from behind. Dang, just bummed that I fell, man. You know, Nick Way got the whole shot, and I was behind him. It was cat and mouse and this and that, and Chad was up my rear, and you know, I was just trying to get by, and I knew I would be in good shape, but I squared him up in that first turn and hit my handlebar in the hay bale, but I'm really happy with the way I came from behind.
With his opening round win, Chad Reed pulled out in front of the World Supercross GP points race with 25 points. Ricky Carmichael followed with 22, and James Stewart pulled into third with 20. The series stayed in Canada for round 2 as the focus shifted to BC Place in Vancouver. After his opening round crash, James Stewart was not only looking to stay on the bike, but to gather his first victory of the season as well.
We're in BC Place, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, for round 2 of 17 that make up the World Championship. We'll show you the 20 riders that are going to be there when the gate drops here tonight in BC Place. Carmichael will certainly be one of them, as will last week's winner, Chad Reed. And James Stewart, you and I both were talking during the commercial break, Jeff, after his heat race. James' first loss in a heat race since he's been in Supercross just seemed a little off.
Yeah, watching his body language when him and Ricky pulled off and stopped, waited for the other riders, he kind of lowered his shoulders like, oh man, one down. So we'll see if he can make it through these 20 laps with that injured foot that he has.
30-second board is up. She's going to tip it sideways, run for the sidelines, and we'll be underway when the gate drops. Where do you think the whole shot's going to come from as you look at the starting line area?
I think the whole shot and the finish is going to come from number 4, but we'll see how this plays out.
Carmichael got bogged down at the start. James Stewart is out front.
Great start by Stewart. This is what you got to do. He's got to get out front and do his own thing. Put in some pretty fast lap times here. Get a little gap on these guys.
Stewart gets the whole shot.
We also got Michael Byrne on the Rockstar Suzuki right there.
Yep.
Who I've spent a lot of time. Michael Byrne.
Down goes Heath Boss with our camera. You just crashed at BC Place. There goes James Stewart. Carmichael is already dealing with Byrne. So he's going to be moving into second pretty quick here.
Looks like Stewart might have did the best thing. He rode the first qualifying practice of the day, did not ride the second practice, saved it all for the main event here. If that foot is injured and if it's giving him problems and he only has so much in it as far as the pain goes, he's definitely on the right track for now.
That's a great point, and here comes Chad Reed as well. Reed, you see that blue 22? He's closing in on Byrne. That's going to be a fight for third. Byrne's on the yellow Suzuki, the Rockstar back rider.
Yeah, Michael Byrne's a good friend of mine. He's been out in California testing with the Rockstar Suzuki team. This week they found some engine parts, or they tested some engine parts. He's got the secret engine that obviously has gotten him a whole lot better start than he got last week. And he's ready to battle hard. He's really confident in his new Suzuki.
Here comes Reed inside. A Byrne stops a textbook move. He's by. That's Tim Ferry on the 15. Back behind him in 5th. But Ricky Carmichael on the number 4. Coming right after it. Second last week in Toronto. Carmichael looking to improve on that. He felt he was strong enough to win in Toronto. He wants to take at least one victory out of Canada on his final trip north of the border.
Yeah, Ricky commented that he wanted to be in it at lap 10. That's where he figures if you're in it at lap 10, then you got a chance to win. Oh, he throws a little triple in there. That could be a line that develops for him to maybe make a pass on Stewart here in some later laps.
And here's Chad Reed riding along in third. The Carmichael is coming and coming hard after Stewart.
And the one thing about this battle is that Carmichael, there is no championship. He's only going to ride selected events.
Here he comes, and the crowd gets up on their feet.
It's all about the win for him. For Stewart, it's all about points.
Boy, there's a good look at how Carmichael came right after him, but he was safe, and Stewart gets caught in between a slower rider, and Carmichael cuts back on him and takes the lead away.
a move.
Well, I said earlier that the lappers would play a big part in this. And at that point, man, those guys just split the lapper in two there. That was awesome.
And don't forget, we saw Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart talking after the heat race, and Carmichael saw what you and I saw, the body language of James Stewart. Maybe he wasn't feeling it. Ricky is great at capitalizing on a weakness of another rider that he might have seen.
Yeah, definitely. Stewart's foot is it's probably hurting quite a bit at this point. And he comes in to protect the inside. Carmichael just cuts back down this way. Nice pass. Great anticipation by Ricky Carmichael of how it was all going to play out. That's what a 15-time champion knows. That's what his instincts tell him is the best place to go, and it definitely paid off.
Ricky Carmichael is the only rider to win here at Vancouver and the World Supercross GP and the AMA Supercross Series. And it looks like he's about to get another victory here in his final appearance in Canada. Ricky Carmichael takes the win in Vancouver's BC place.
Man, that's got to feel great. Look how happy he is. He knows this is his last Supercross up here in Canada. This guy, he's had so many wins, but even this one, it's probably 150 or so. He treats it like it's his first. He loves this stuff.
Chad Reed will finish third. James Stewart has finished second. A gutty performance by Stewart. Reed gets third. So the championship for the Ant Mobile World Supercross GP Series tightens up.
That was an awesome race. You know, through the years, the last year, you know, James is, he races me clean. We had our incidents there and little run-ins, but he's matured a lot around me. And dude, I'm so pumped. I'm in the points lead. We're going to the holidays. I'm super pumped, man. You have no idea.
You know, I didn't decide to race until Thursday night, and I decided to come up here and just give it a shot. You know, I was on crutches until Thursday. I actually crutched my way in the airport, and I had to leave them at home. Pops told me, we're not going racing if you're on crutches, but I'm super pumped. You know, I think it shows what I can do and, you know, my heart and determination for the championship. And it's good to have a little bit of break to go back and rest up a little bit. So Anaheim comes around, we're gonna be good.
After the second round of the World Supercross GP, Ricky Carmichael had pulled into the lead with 47 points. Chad Reed had dropped back to second with 45 points, and James Stewart held on to third with 42 points. The unofficial home of Supercross is Anaheim, California, the only city on the Supercross schedule that boasts 3 stops during the season. But out of those 3, none were more important than the opening round of the AMA Series, an Anaheim fixture for over a decade. Amidst all the pomp and pageantry that always accompanies the first AMA race of the year, it was extra special for one rider in particular, Ricky Carmichael, as this would be his last opening round in Anaheim ever.
Here's our Dunlop starting grid. All the right names are there, Jeff.
Whew. Man, this is one of the biggest Anaheims I can remember. The crowd are completely on their feet right now.
Michael Byrne will carry the onboard camera for us, and just like with the Supercross lights, you will see every lap before we take a break. Here we go, Anaheim 1. And the whole shot goes to Chad Reed.
Chad Reed grabbed the whole shot.
Reed, Carmichael, and Stewart, or Stewart, Carmichael.
We talked about how beaten up Chad Reed is. He's toughing it out. He's going for the whole shot. He gets down and he has the lead.
Well, Chad's a warrior. He knows what he has to do. He has to get out front, establish the lead, give it everything he's got. It's 20 laps here on that shoulder. He can rest tomorrow.
Look at Stewart through the works for the lead. Chad Reed on the 22, riding with a stress fracture in his right shoulder blade and a chipped collarbone. Pulled second place in Anaheim 1. Here comes Carmichael on the inside of the number 4.
It's going to be Carmichael's last chance to win Anaheim 1 here. He needs to get by Chad Reed quick because Stewart has been so fast all day. Doesn't want to let him get any lead at all. But like he said, he wants to be there with only a couple laps. He feels he's the strongest at the end.
How will he get him? Where should he set up the pass?
I think he's setting it up right here, Ralph.
Through the sand. Well, you can everybody still on their feet here in Anaheim.
The crowd here in Anaheim are loving this. This is what they all came to see. Ooh, big mistake by Stewart.
Wow, look at Carmichael's backside of that motorcycle, flopping and flying into the air. Reed gets by to take second place.
I tell you, this track has been tough for everybody, and now we've seen our top 3 Supercross stars, each one of them making mistakes. It's just how bad they want it. They're giving it everything they got.
Carmichael trying to the inside of Reed as they come into the whoops.
Look for a pass here.
Got it. Boy, look at Reed. Reed is really giving him everything he's got.
This is great action. It doesn't do any good for them to do this, but you have to establish the position in second if you want to go for the lead.
The mechanics cheering them on. James Stewart has a problem.
Down.
Stewart had a problem. Chad Reed takes the lead.
I heard the crowd going crazy, Ralph. I couldn't see what was going on.
Carmichael, it looks like, actually is going to take the lead, and Reed is going to move to second. That'll put Stewart back to third.
Woo, the crowd going down the straightaway here next to Carmichael. They're pumping their fist and loving it.
Remember, Ricky Carmichael has never won Anaheim 1. Stewart gets back around Reed for second place.
And this is just what Stewart didn't need to do. He fell again. He was on the ground. What's going to happen? He's going to have to ride a little harder. His focus may be a little bit off. He's going to have to... This is where he's going to hang it out. This is why he ends up falling down sometimes. Here comes Stewart. Nice, comfortable lead over the finish line. And just washes the front end. That's a tough one to give up there.
Carmichael in the lead.
Stewart's catching him, though. He is on the gas.
But as you said, he's having to ride twice as hard to get there.
Well, Carmichael wanted a battle, and he's got it coming right now.
Stewart got incredibly quickly through that whoop section.
Well, the thing is, Stewart, week after week, is always the fastest guy through the whoops. He sets his front suspension up so stiff that's why the machine gets through there that much better. But what he makes up in the whoops, he gives away in front end traction by making it so stiff.
All right, he's on Carmichael now. Will he sit there for a while, or will he just pass him and try to disappear?
He's going to cut to the inside right here. Clean move.
But Ricky triples out of it and retakes the lead. That's that move he's been doing all night going into the sand section.
Look at, that's the Bubba Scrub right there, taking the lead again.
There he goes, blazing through the whoop section. Stewart continuing the lead, and Carmichael jumping back into the sand section.
I look for Carmichael to try to follow some of his lines right now.
Here's the Bubba Scrub, watch him do it.
Triples out of the turn, and then he just soaks up that right there. And watch over this triple. He just whips the bike sideways, stays about 4 feet lower over the jump, and is able to hit it with more speed.
And that helped Stewart get the lead. Chad Reed is in third place. That's a healthy points night for a rider who's dinged up, beaten, and battered right now.
Yeah, 20 points is definitely better than 0. Sitting up in the stands like he was talking about.
And remember, he lost the AMA title last year by just 3 points. What a difference this could make at the end of the year. James Stewart celebrating as he passes the mechanics area, and James Stewart wins Anaheim 1.
He is happy. How's that feeling? That is, there's such an emotional rush there, such a feeling of being a gladiator and a champion.
And in his final appearance at Anaheim 1, Ricky Carmichael is denied again. He will have to settle for second. But Chad Reed, what a gritty performance. That right shoulder has to be absolutely killing him, but he comes across the line in third and does an outstanding performance to keep himself alive in the championship hunt.
I can't even talk. It's like, you know, honestly, my shoulder was painful, but my chest, man, I couldn't breathe at all, and man, right now it hurts like hell. But you know, come Vegas, I think I'll thank myself for riding this weekend, and man, I know I got to be the tough guy because it's not any fun.
The whole night I was just a little bit off, and I was trying, and he could exit, start his turn a little bit earlier and exit, and I'd come on the inside and I'd be too far out coming out, and so I was just looking for a mistake on his behalf at that point, and I was just a little bit over that edge, and the rest was history.
Ah, man, the Kawasaki's working awesome. Just lost the front tire, I think lap 4 or 5, and man, I've never felt this good on a motorcycle. I feel so strong. Just after the Canada races, kind of woke me up, and went back and really put some hard laps into it, and I'm just really excited about going to Phoenix next weekend and seeing what happens.
After the opening Anaheim round, Ricky Carmichael still had the lead of the World Supercross GP points race with 69 points. James Stewart had leapfrogged Chad Reed into second with 67 points to Reed's 65. On the AMA leaderboard, James Stewart's first place finish gave him the lead with 25 points, followed by Carmichael's 22 and Chad Reed's 20 points.
Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. It's the home to Major League Baseball's Arizona Diamondbacks. But today, the green grass field is covered in tons of dirt, forming triple jumps and whoop sections as the Amped Mobile Supercross Series comes to the Valley of the Sun.
Here's our Honda starting grid, and you will notice there's actually one extra rider, Paul Carpenter, taking advantage using a provisional to make it into the main event. Carmichael, Stewart, Chad Reed, maybe VUILLEMIN away.
BYRNE on the Rockstar Suzuki is a prime candidate, a great starter, and sure would be great for our helmet cam to see him out front.
Getting a whole shot.
And I think Nick Way actually got the whole shot award, but then James Stewart just snuck by on the inside down that first rhythm section.
Stewart blasts out of that big corner, and here comes Carmichael on the 4.
He's got a little bit of work ahead of him. He's got some guys that are putting in some really good rides tonight in front of him, and he doesn't want to let Stewart check out any further than what he is right now, but I think it's going to be hard to stop that.
A key thing to remember, Jeff, is that Ricky Carmichael has been the fastest rider here in Phoenix every time he's been on the track.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's had a great weekend. Looks like they got the Suzuki dialed in. Just goes past David VUILLEMIN there. And what they worked on this week from last week at Anaheim 1 was actually making the bike turn. The interesting thing about Carmichael, he's not going to be riding next week. He's only riding an abbreviated season, but he still works super hard each week to win.
Nick Way, or David VUILLEMIN. That's David VUILLEMIN down very hard.
They were on board with Michael BYRNE. Coming through here by the finish line, these guys got a pretty heated battle going on. VUILLEMIN opts to the right side. As he comes in, he's single triples and he comes up short and goes over the bars hard. Just drives himself into up face of one of them jumps.
They're going to red flag the race to get more medical attention to David.
Now this is something that we have not seen.
Well, while the red flag is out, the race will come to a stop. After an absolutely vicious crash, David VUILLEMIN gets up under his own power and walks off the track. The Astros medical crew doing a great job of attending to David VUILLEMIN, and he walks away. We are going to have a full restart after that red flag, 20 fresh laps. Here we go. Looks like he goes to the 43 machine of Jeff DeMent, but Carmichael gets an incredible start around the outside. He's into the lead. Where is Stewart? Here he comes on the 7 in second. That big lead just gets wiped away.
Yeah, this is just what Carmichael needed in that first start. Stewart hole shot it. He was waving bye-bye. Carmichael needed this to get battle for the main event win here.
And Carmichael has been the fastest rider inside Chase Field all weekend. We'll see now if Stewart can match his pace.
Well, we're all going to get to see the battle that we were hoping would brew here. This way we get 20 laps of it. Watch how fast Stewart goes into this next set of whoops right here, way on the left-hand side.
That front wheel just sky high, barely skimming it across the rear wheel.
The whoop sections like that is where James Stewart excels over the other riders. He just has the ability to just hang it out, come into those whoops with so much speed.
So many people think that James Stewart rides on the edge at all times. And I asked James, I said, James, how close are you to the edge? And he said, you know what? In fact, you probably have never seen me ride on the edge. Really? He said, yep. He said, I have never ridden to my fullest potential in a Supercross race yet. They just, the way the tracks are designed, I cannot ride at my fastest speed. He has more left in the tank, Jeff, if you can believe that.
I think James Stewart is setting up Carmichael for the second set of whoops. I think he's where we talked about the inside line is left open. Stewart's been making himself a line on the inside each lap.
Here comes Stewart. He's got to pass that time.
Well, he chose the first set.
Stewart takes the lead, and you can hear the crowd in Chase Field cheering loudly as they exchange the lead. Now, can Carmichael mount a challenge back?
Yeah, this battle for the lead has just been so good. We stayed up there. We're going to get a chance to see some third and fourth right now. I'm sorry, fourth and fifth. Kevin Windham and Ferry.
Best battle on the racetrack. Windham on the red Honda, number 14. Here comes Ferry, Stewart's teammate on the Monster Kawasaki team. On the number 15. We talked about how much pressure was on Kevin Windham, and joining that battle, Travis Preston on the red number 11. Here's Ferry. Oh, he tried to get inside, couldn't get enough.
And Michael Byrne with our helmet cam on the Rockstar Suzuki is right at the end of that pack. These guys, you know, I really thought that these guys had a lot to prove tonight, and so far they're battling it out.
Here comes Preston on the outside of Windham.
I would look for both of these guys to race each other pretty clean. They're both teammates. And actually, what they have in common is they're two of the taller riders on the circuit. They have similar riding styles because of that.
Is that an advantage on the bigger 450?
Well, you gotta think so, because these bikes are so much to handle. But, you know, along with being that tall, usually comes wearing a pretty big boot. Makes it, you know, they have to extend the shift levers, the brake levers, things like that.
Preston, 5, gets around Windham. That's for 4th. And Carmichael has closed the gap back up on James Stewart. Less than a second between the two.
I think we're going to see Ricky Carmichael. He's always talked about he wants to be in it in the last 5 laps, and he feels that his advantage is in his fitness and his mental strength.
The hardest thing they say for James is to learn how to ride just fast enough to win. There's no doubt he has speed. But keeping it in control just to get to the finish is the thing the team is working on the most with him.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. He just shows so much speed, and if you look at certain races last year, that if he just backed his lap time down a little bit, maybe rode a little more comfortable, you know, he still would have won the races.
So where's Chad Reed? Here he is, the Australian rider with the hurt shoulder, gutting out another 3rd place finish. Here's Ivan Tedesco now. This is Stewart or Carmichael's teammate getting inside a Windham. They make a little contact, and Tedesco gets by. Boy, it has been a rough night for Kevin Windham. And here is Stewart on his final lap.
Yeah, Windham just getting lapped here. He's in the middle of this battle for the lead.
Stewart looking for back-to-back wins. He is currently lapped all the way up to 8th. Oh, and Tedesco and him get together.
That was very interesting. I think I see James Stewart looking over to his right, making Tedesco wasn't going to come into play, but...
Checkered flag for James Stewart. Back-to-back wins for the Kawasaki rider. Carmichael finishes a close 2nd. Just over a 2nd behind him.
Stewart is very happy. He's definitely shown that he's got the speed and he's putting it together. You see Ivan TEDESCO here. What he's saying is, hey, I was looking back. I didn't think you were going to cut down. I was afraid that was going to happen. So right now they're just sorting it out that wasn't intentional.
And remember, they came together in practice in Toronto, and that's what hurt TEDESCO's hand. So that's a big moment there to clear the air.
Yeah, that could have been really tricky there.
Let's show you what happened there between the two.
So TEDESCO's thinking Stewart's going to go wide. I've been watching Stewart. He's been cutting down every lap. So TEDESCO's trying to get out of the way, and they just came together.
You know, even like if he got me back on purpose, no hard feelings on my part. You know, like I told him I was sorry after the end of the race, even though he hit me. But you know, I don't have any grudge to him. But I got the job done. That was counts. And after the red flag, it was good to put my head back down and work hard.
Yeah, we had an awesome battle, and I just didn't have it. I mean, he was ruining me in the turn before the whoops over there, and you know, I tried taking that line and just couldn't pull it off. But you know, I tried my hardest, and that's what I'm happy about. You know, the Suzuki was good. We worked and worked this week, and the bike was a lot better, and you know, happy to get out here safe. Would have liked to win, but all you can do is do your best, and just, man, I want to get a win, but you can only do all you can do.
Thanks to his win in Phoenix, James Stewart sat atop the World Supercross GP leaderboard with 92 points. Ricky Carmichael was only 1 point behind in second place, and Chad Reed was comfortably in third with 85 points. And in the AMA Series, the three riders fell in the exact same order, only separated by a total of 10 points.
Southern California, the birthplace of the high-flying sport known as Supercross. The Amped Mobile Supercross Series returns to Angel Stadium of Anaheim for another round of competition. So we get ready for the main event here in Anaheim. And James Stewart, we've talked so much about him, but Chad Reed, Kevin Windham, Ivan TEDESCO, Nick Wey, any one of these strong contenders can take him out and take the win. Michael Byrne had a long road to get to the main event, had to come through the last chance qualifier, but the rider on the Rockstar Suzuki's got the camera in the main event for us tonight. Our Supercross up close as we get set for the gate to drop here in Anaheim 2. 20 riders for 20 laps, 25 points towards the AMA Championship up for grabs. Of course, points as well for the world title. Comes from the outside.
Nick Wey, 27 on the Honda.
Will he hold it for long? Wey trying to get away, but here comes Stewart. Look at him split through the pack. Right into your living room comes Nick Wey. James Stewart right behind him with Ivan TEDESCO running in third, and it's Chad Reed in fourth.
Did you guys see what James Stewart did through the whoops? The guy wheelied all the way through him. That was amazing.
Well, he may use that here this next lap to make the pass.
He gets him in the corner, and James Stewart is into the lead here in Anaheim.
Reed better get up there because this is not where he wants James to be right now.
No, definitely. We're going to see James Stewart lay down some really hot laps here, and let's especially focus on him as he goes through the whoop section because this is where he really excels.
Here we go. At that time, Ricky, he didn't wheelie all the way through, but here comes Reed. He gets around your teammate, Ivan TEDESCO.
Yeah,
That'll
Ivan
put
trying
Reed
to
up
get
to
him
third.
back. Ivan trying to get him back right here.
Nice move by TEDESCO.
There's a good chance for Ivan to be on the box tonight.
And this is the type of riding we've been expecting out of Ivan TEDESCO all year, but with that hand injury, he hasn't really been able to do that.
Right, no, this is where he needs to be. He deserves to be here, and he needs to capitalize.
Reed answers right back, taking third place back away from the Suzuki rider. Nick Wey on the privateer, Honda number 27. Stewart, his best lap so far, Ricky, a 47.1, but the rest of the field just about a second slower.
Yep, he's putting down those fast laps. Chad's going to get ready and try to set up Nick Wey here for the pass, as you guys will see here within the next lap, I would say. Roll through the center right here. Going to be on the inside, the triple. Here goes. Here he goes, right here.
Now that's amazing that Chad Reed even got close there.
Bit of a bobble through those tabletops really cost him.
What he did on the inside there, he tried to get on the inside of Nick Wey and was too inside. Oh, he tries to punt Nick Wey there on the inside.
Is this also maybe an indication of just how good Nick Wey is riding?
Yeah, absolutely.
Meanwhile, James Stewart is opening up a gap of just over 6 seconds in front of these two. So he's going to go by the other direction as these two come into the corner. There goes Stewart at the far end going the other direction. This is just what he wants. Reed being bogged down here.
Yeah, and we got a tight race here between second and sixth. These guys are all pretty close around one straightaway.
Here's the fight with Chad Reed now having gotten around Nick Wey finally. That'll put him up into second place, and we're just about to the halfway point. He's 7.5 seconds behind James Stewart. You would have thought maybe it'd be even bigger. Chad Reed with a severely injured right shoulder, still running in second, and Chad Reed doing what he needs to do to maybe win this championship and take it away from James Stewart. If he keeps sticking in there, getting good points each and every week, he's just going to chip away at it and not let Stewart run away with the title.
Absolutely, you know, he's there, and you got to pounce on when there's if there's a mistake.
James Stewart, the complete package.
That's a classic whip there off the triple. The fans at Anaheim just love that. One-handed, whip that big 450 Cowie sideways and head to the finish.
Unbelievable speed and $1 million smile, and James Stewart has won 3 races in a row.
I guess I answered all them questions that was big, you know, what if that, and you know, I just really believe in myself. You know, we kind of struggled again today in practice, but Kawasaki, I mean, they found some settings in between the heat race and the main event, and I just felt so much better. So I just got to give it up to the team this weekend. They really came through for me like they always do, and I'm just happy.
With another main event win under his belt, James Stewart was in control of the World Supercross GP points race with 117 points. With Carmichael not racing this weekend, Chad Reed was able to overtake him on the leaderboard with 107 points to Ricky's 91. Stewart was also in control of the AMA points chase, leading the pack with 75 points, followed by Chad Reed with 60 and Tim Ferry with 50.
The Amped Mobile Supercross Series makes its way to the Bay Area of Northern California for the next stop of the high-flying circus. It's AT&T Park in San Francisco, California. As we look at our Honda starting grid, Carmichael will be there, having won this race before on a Honda, going to try to do it tonight on a Suzuki. Here's the Honda up close, 20 riders for 20 laps, 25 points at stake towards the AMA title. Carmichael, the reigning AMA Series champion. James Stewart trying to take it away from him for his first ever title. There's our onboard camera, Michael Byrne on that Rockstar Suzuki.
If you notice right here on Ricky Carmichael's helmet, on the end of his visor, you can see real close, there's a goggle lens taped to that. James Stewart, another Oakley goggle rider, they both have the same thing. That tells me that there's a lot of roost coming from the track and they want a little longer visor to protect their goggles.
It's going to be Chad Reed getting the whole shot as a bunch of riders got together in the first corner.
Nathan Ramsey, his teammate, was in there pretty close and went down on the inside of the first turn. He's in last place. But his teammate's out front with the lead.
Chad Reed, James Stewart, and Ricky Carmichael running 1, 2, and 3.
I tell you what, this is just what the fans are looking for here. The top 3 fastest qualifiers, top 3 fastest Supercross in the world out front. Already at lap 6 are coming into traffic. These guys are really moving.
Catching up to number 917, Aaron Sorby, who runs in 20th.
And each lap that Reed stays out front, he's going to gain confidence. But each lap that Stewart is behind, he's going to see Chad's lines.
Oh, and Sorby gets in the way of Reed, and there goes Stewart.
That was unfortunate. Man, that is not the way that you like to lose the lead. I don't know what happened there. Maybe Chad thought Sorby was going to hang it tight and he would stay high, but it definitely worked out in the favor of James Stewart.
Stewart back out front now.
You know, I've been a little...
Oh! Stewart throws it away, and Reed stumbles getting by. Here comes Carmichael into second. And the bike stays running, Jeff.
Unbelievable. It looked like he missed a shift. That's what it looked like to me. We'll check out the replay because the front end just dropped.
jumping onto that first tabletop.
And look at Carmichael now zeroing in on Chad Reed. Let's go back and see what happened to Stewart.
Comes out. Something happened right there. The bike stalled for some reason when he jumped onto the first tabletop. When he landed, the bike just stopped on him and put him over the bars.
What Carmichael needs to do is get around Reed and try to check out if he can do it. Reed not making it easy. Here he comes.
Close racing. Carmichael just jumped to the inside there.
Oh! Chad Reed throws it away.
Oh, big mistake by Reed.
That's the one mistake he's made all night, and it's going to cost him the win.
That is a tough one to take. Just a lapse in concentration.
Heartbreaking for Chad Reed, the grittiest rider in the field. Busted up shoulder, had the lead for more than half the race, and then just tosses it away.
He comes in here, just hits a slick spot, wet spot, and just launches the bike. Big mistake by Chad Reed.
Here comes Reed. Reed is closing in on Stewart. We're going to have a great battle for second here in just a few corners. And Nathan Ramsey, Reed's teammate, is right in front of Stewart.
A lot of lapped riders in the middle here getting by these guys, and it's much harder to get through the lapped riders when there's ruts because you can't go anywhere. Once you get locked into a groove, you got to stay in it till it ends. The crowd is definitely pumped to see number 4 out front.
His final stop on his farewell tour here in San Francisco. Carmichael is going to pursue a stock car career when he's done racing motorcycles. And he's making his way around for the final time here at AT&T Park, on his way to another victory here in this famous ballpark. Ricky Carmichael, the winner at AT&T Park. The greatest of all time, Carmichael takes another victory, his second of the year.
10th lap on, I was so tight and almost went off the track. I'm the only guy that didn't fall out of the 3 of us, and I take it any way I can get it. They definitely made it easier than it should have been for me tonight, but it was just a wild race, wild for the fans, wild for TV, and that's what we need to do.
Besides the lappers and probably the crashes, and besides all that, it was a good race. You know, I had fun. I have to say this was the funnest race I've probably ever ridden in my life. I felt super good tonight, and man, I hate losing like that. You know, I made a stupid mistake. Mud got packed up on my foot peg, and I just hit it in neutral, and I didn't know it. And I went over the handlebars, and then VOSS cut me off in this rhythm section, landed and stalled it. But besides that, I had a good time.
Yeah, week by week we're getting better, and man, super stoked to get that whole shot and get out there and lead a little bit. You know, it's we've come a long way in a short time, and not the end result, but you know, I'll take it. You know, I felt like I had good speed this weekend, and that's what it takes. I'll take a fall to learn, and never too old or too smart to learn. But you know, I felt like I threw that one away. But man, that was fun as a racer to go out there and race those 2 like that, and you could hear the intents for the crowd and everything. I had a ball.
Supercross rolled back into Anaheim for the 3rd and final Angel Stadium stop of the series. James Stewart's goal was to keep his points leads intact, of course. But there was something else at stake. Could he be the first rider in 6 years to sweep all 3 Anaheim rounds in one season? As the gate dropped on the main event, Nick Wey edged Stewart out for the whole shot, only to be passed by him a few moments later. Chad Reed was also able to get out in front of Wey on lap 1, following Stewart's line. Chad slowly closed the small gap between himself and the leader.
Chad Reed on James Stewart, challenging for the lead.
Until lap 6, when he knocked into Stewart in a turn and grabbed the lead momentarily.
Oh, and he gets right into Stewart.
But shortly thereafter, Stewart used a tight turn to shut down Chad's line and regain the lead.
Oh, and Stewart comes right back and shuts him off.
Reed almost caught Stewart on the last lap, but had trouble getting around the lapped riders.
Can he make a run? Here he comes.
The crowd's coming alive.
James held on until the checkered flag to not only grab the top spot on the podium, but also to become the first rider since the legendary Jeremy McGrath to sweep all the Anaheim events in a single season. Moving on to Houston, it was clear that James Stewart was the rider to beat, having won 4 of the last 7 main events. But after nearly catching him in the last round, Chad Reed was ready for a fight. Tim Ferry grabbed the main event hole shot, followed by Kevin Windham and Reed.
First to the corner, getting the hole shot is Tim Ferry on the 15.
And Ferry was all by himself. There was no doubt that that was his hole shot.
Stewart got only an average start, chasing the leaders from 6th place. Then the jockeying came fast and hard, with Windham passing Ferry for the lead on the first lap, as Stewart made a quick pass on Ivan TEDESCO for 5th. 2 laps later, Travis Preston went down, handing Stewart 4th.
Oh, down goes Travis Preston right in front of him. That'll move Stewart up to 4th.
Then, James put on an amazing display of speed and control as he flashed past Reed in the whoop section, moving up to 3rd.
Oh, man.
I called it. I got the crystal ball going, bro.
1 lap later, Stewart passed Ferry to move into 2nd behind Windham. Then during lap 6, James used his perfect timing in the rhythm section to pass Windham and take sole possession of the lead.
You know, here goes, look at James setting him up. Man, James is on it tonight.
Over the next half-dozen laps, Stewart extended his lead while Reed, Windham, and Ferry fought for position behind him. Ferry was closing in on Windham, who brushed against the tough blocks after a jump, enabling Ferry to take over 3rd. As the checkered flag dropped, Stewart won by a large margin, followed by Chad Reed and Tim Ferry. Kevin Windham wound up off the podium in 4th place. James Stewart still leads the World Supercross GP with 189 points, but Chad Reed was staying right with him thanks to his 171 points. Tim Ferry was 3rd with 142 points. The AMA points race featured the same 3 riders, with Stewart leading the way with 147 points, followed by Reed with 126 and Ferry with 110.
Qualcomm Stadium is the home of the NFL San Diego Chargers. They had a pretty good season this year, and we're hoping we're going to have a pretty good main event here tonight. James Stewart, well, he crashed in the opening ceremonies, Jeff, but he was pretty strong in his heat race.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I was looking at the starting line here. Stewart actually lined up the 2nd gate from the inside. What that tells me is he thinks a lot of riders are going to push wide. He's going to want to get on the brakes early and hug the inside, and that's a trademark of James Stewart.
He's got Kevin Windham on one side and Ivan TEDESCO on the other. The 32nd board is up. It's sideways, and here we go. Main event time from San Diego. Oh!
VUILLEMIN jumped the gate.
And Ivan TEDESCO is going to get the whole shot. Chad Reed's in 2nd. Stewart's back in 3rd. There's the gate.
Actually broke the gate off. There's a couple of bolts on each side that hold that on. He must have really hit it hard.
Well, Ivan TEDESCO has needed a really good run to get his season headed in the right direction. One of the preseason favorites to give Stewart fits this year. And he's doing everything he can to hold on to the lead with Chad Reed, giving him a real challenge and taking the spot away. Wow, look at Reed get through the whoops.
Got James Stewart on him too.
Stewart's right alongside, but the Makita Suzuki rider holds on to 2nd for another corner. Now Stewart's passed.
Just goes to show how aggressive and how ready for these main events that Reed and Stewart, I mean, they're prepared from the first lap. They're ready to do battle. They are not waiting around. These teams, these bikes, these engines, they just build so much horsepower now. You know, it's back to the same old story, you know, looking for traction.
Oh, here comes Stewart, making a run at him. Inside of Reed, and James Stewart making a bid for the lead. He'll take it.
Chad Reed had an opportunity to maybe block Stewart coming out of that turn, but he kept it pretty clean. We'll see if he's going to try to latch on to Stewart and keep it, you know, follow those fast lines.
Well, here's how James Stewart got around Reed for the lead.
Reed made a little mistake coming out of that turn, lost the drive, and both these guys really good at scrubbing those triples. Stewart gets up the inside. See, Chad had an opportunity to take him wide there, to take James wide, push his front wheel and push him to the left into those whoops there, but he didn't take that. He didn't cheap shot him, and that's one of the things in this Supercross class as opposed to the lights class, that these riders show a lot of respect for each other. You know, they have a lot of maturity. There's a lot on the line. So
James Stewart is down. James Stewart has crashed at the finish line jump, and he's got a problem with the handlebars.
that bike looks pretty twisted up, Ralph. We'll have to see if that was the situation from in the whoops coming the other ways.
Well, remember, we talked at the very beginning of the show. He has another spin. He's going to the mechanics area.
He's pulling off. Now, this is something that he hasn't done too much this year.
Let's see what happened to him. Oh, he got too close to the edge and just bailed off.
Yeah, he gets too close to the right side of the finish line jump, hits those tough blocks, loses all the drive, all the lift. Woo! He's lucky that he didn't get hurt on that. He went right into the up face of that finish line jump, and it's like a wall.
Trying to find out exactly where he is. He's ninth. And he's got half the race yet to go. Can he do it?
Well, I think taking the win here is going to be out of the question. What's going to be the question is, you guys look real close. If you can see his handlebars are very bent. Let's see if he can keep it straight.
And what do you see in his riding style? How is he compensating for what's wrong with the front of that bike?
Well, the bars look like it's bent down on his right side, is closer to him. So when you constantly want to straighten those bars out and the front wheels facing left, so takes him a couple laps, he'll get used to it, but it's definitely makes it tough when you're pulling back on the bike.
Jeff, we have said for the last couple of weeks, Chad Reed has got to win if he wants a shot at catching James Stewart. This is exactly what he was hoping for in the fight for the championship. A win, and Stewart has trouble. Reed has been sticking right there, getting on the podium each and every week. This is really going to help him in the points. This is a fight for fifth and a bigger fight for points in the championship for James Stewart.
Well, that's true. He knows he needs to keep it on two wheels now for sure, and every pass is going to count as 2 points once you get up to this position.
And this might be as far as James Stewart goes, because Ivan TEDESCO, who is fourth, is 13 seconds in front of these guys with 3 laps to go. So these are some very important points for James Stewart.
Yeah, with only 3 to go, he's a couple straightaways behind TEDESCO, who's actually putting together a great ride, and Kevin Windham also.
Jeff, one of the things they always talk about when it comes to championships is minimizing the damage when you've had a major problem. And James Stewart is doing that here tonight. He crashed hard in a very treacherous section of racetrack, the finish line jump. He's bouncing back. He's going to be able to pull off a top 5 finish if he can get around BYRNE, and does it.
And he just cut across some of those inside grooves there. Took that position from BYRNE.
Final lap here in San Diego. We talked about how this has been a racetrack that's been very good for Chad Reed. He got a heat race win, the momentum cooking, and Chad Reed's going to find himself on the top step of the podium, and he's going to tighten up the points chase here tonight at Qualcomm.
Well, he stayed right in there. He got a great start, and Stewart got by him, but he stayed right there with him.
He gets the season opening win in Toronto, injures his shoulder, but bounces back for a win here in San Diego. Chad Reed with a huge victory and a major lift for the morale of that team. Now James Stewart, on the other hand, is going to come back for a 5th place finish if he can hold off Michael BYRNE, who's given him a run all the way to the end. This one's not done yet. Final quarter, and James Stewart. The highs and lows of Supercross. The winner, Chad Reed, but the man who saw the victory slip away, James Stewart, is with our Aaron Bates.
Well, a big get-off for James Stewart. James, basically take us through what happened there.
The track just got a little bit slippery, like I said earlier, and I just came on, slid in the corner, was too close to them bills. My dad tells me that all the time, and I just hit my brake going off. I wasn't even close, and I didn't have no choice but to bail off. But I'm fine. I just got to give it up to the team, Kawasaki. We tried our best, and I felt good up until then, but it's a good way to not get hurt, but we just got to limit those mistakes.
Man, I was getting so mad at myself getting seconds, and man, seconds awesome, but I really wanted to get a win, and I was so frustrated after last weekend. I just knew that I needed to come here and fight back, and it wasn't the most stellar way to take a win, but man, I'll take it any way I can at this point, and man, we're working hard. We ain't giving up, and James Wright Austin, I hate to see him like that, man. When you come up over a jump and you see a guy kind of going like this, that's not a good image in your head. But man, I want to take my hat off to all my my whole team, man. We've been working hard during the week, and all the guys at MANUEL, Unbound, Throw Parts, and man, Brian, Charisse, and Al. I love you guys, and thank you.
Stewart's World Supercross GP lead was now down to 207 points to Reed's 196. Tim Ferry held on to third with 164 points. Reed had also gained ground on Stewart in the AMA points chase, sitting right behind James' 163 points with 151 points. 132 points had Tim Ferry comfortably in third.
A huge crowd on hand here in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. 70,000+ ready to go racing.
Well, after 7 rounds of the AMA Supercross Series, only 12 points separate James Stewart and Chad Reed, but this weekend, the greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael, is back being added to the mix. Since his win in San Francisco, he's been sitting on the sidelines, analyzing, watching, testing, studying every move that his top competitors are making, and he's picking up a little bit of tidbits of anything he can to make up more time. With 250 tickets given away to his family and friends, he wants nothing more tonight than to go out on top.
20 laps set to go, but you know what? It's going to be 21 riders tonight because Michael Byrne, as you'll see in our Dunlop starting grid, using his provisional to make the main tonight.
And a rider that's in the top 10 in points could do that twice in a season in the instance like this with Burner going down in that LCQ. So I think we're going to see one of the most intense main events of the season. I think these guys are really going to let it hang out.
And probably right in the middle of it will be the reigning World Supercross GP champion, James Stewart. Told us earlier today, when Ricky Carmichael shows up, I ramp up my game.
He just races differently, and that's what the greatest of all time will do to you.
Big crash on the start of this one. But getting the whole shot is going to be Chad Reed. Carmichael's in third and Stewart's in second. Travis Preston was involved in that crash. He's up and away. The other rider involved was Robbie Reynard, and he's up and walking away. But Chad Reed leads him, and look at Stewart coming on strong into the corner. Takes the lead away. But for how long?
Chad just stayed right in there. He didn't give him an inch.
Oh, contact there. Oh, and the crowd.
Watch this, watch this.
The crowd getting into that battle. Reed coming right back at him.
Here we go.
Oh, he tried to come right up alongside of him. Couldn't get there. Meanwhile, Carmichael on the 4 sits right behind him just watching the fireworks.
I'll tell you what, Stewart was the fastest guy earlier today. These guys need to make some passes and get up there and challenge him. They don't want to let him get away.
Ivan TEDESCO runs in 4th, Carmichael's teammate.
Track looks really good right now, Ralph. It's corners and everything have got some great lines in them. Guys are jumping a quad there after the finish. There's four little whoops there. They all started sweeping wide. They take that whole rhythm section in a different route.
Oh, down goes Reed. The San Diego winner is on the ground. There goes all the momentum he gained a week ago.
Luckily, he kept the engine going.
Let's go back and see what happened here, Jeff.
Well, you watch Reed here. He comes out the turn. He tries to cut down through that groove just as it leaned in a little bit too much.
He's up and going again. Reed had fallen back to about 6th position. So Stewart up front, but Carmichael cut the gap to 2.6 seconds. There you see Ricky on the yellow Makita Suzuki. Trying to chase down that Monster Factory Kawasaki of Stewart. Now here's the fight for 4th. That's Reed on that blue Yamaha, number 22 in the white and green riding gear. He's caught up to Kevin Windham.
Trying to make up for that fall here. He was pretty good today in that qualifying round, and it's a little mistake there, but it's the inside of Windham. Can't make the pass stick.
Windham on the SORBY No Fear Samsung Honda. Well, what's bothering him right now is Chad Reed. Here goes Reed through the whoops. blasts through the whoops and takes over 4th position.
Yeah, he got a great drive there. He was setting that up last lap, couldn't make it stick, but makes it stick that time.
TEDESCO can sense that Reed is behind him. Here he comes. Into the corner, under the brakes. Now Reed is there, comes to the outside.
TEDESCO's hanging tough there. He's staying within himself. He's not letting the pressure of Reed get to him. He doesn't seem to be making any mistakes. That's what he has to do. He has to keep racing forward.
So much on the line here for Reed. The championship for TEDESCO. It's the right within the Suzuki pit.
Here it is.
Oh, Reed right alongside, got him.
TEDESCO just made a little mistake there. Chad took advantage of it.
Tries to counter, can't get it done. Drag race to the far end of the field.
Gonna have some block passing right here. TEDESCO takes it back.
He does. TEDESCO fighting for his life within the team. And Reed battling for the championship. What an aggressive fight between these two.
Ivan just took a look back over his shoulder there, and Reed came around the other side.
Ricky Carmichael has had so many great runs here in Atlanta.
Might be just a little too late here, only a couple turns to go.
He's got 5 wins on 3 brands here in this city. Tied with Jeremy McGrath for the most wins, but it's going to be James Stewart taking the win in the Georgia Dome tonight. He'll extend his points lead above the world in the AMA points. Jeremy Albrecht has another win as Stewart's mechanic.
I don't know if I made too many mistakes. Chad and James got out front, and I was kind of behind them, and then James went into the lead, and I could see him trying to put in a little splurge there, and Chad fell down, so I tried to do it. James was nailing this rhythm section. It was super, super hard, and I didn't have the guts to do it, so I took the high road and came close, but not close enough.
It was tough. It was, you know, I really liked the track. You know, I was super excited to go out there and put some laps together. And man, my starts are, it makes it so much fun to get out there and get out front. And you know, I felt like I was where I needed to be, and just wanted to watch James, and then took a digger in the turn. So that's not cool, but man, you learn from your mistakes. I'm so happy to be back on the podium because man, we got some fast guys out there, and just want to thank all the guys at Sam and Well, Unbound, and all the guys at Yamaha. They're doing a great job, and my bud Jeff Fox and Thor Parts Unlimited.
No, I had many more points last weekend than I did this weekend. So, you know, I never seemed like I got it wrapped up until they hand me the #1 plate. And, you know, I'm going to work for it. Chad's riding really good, as he did tonight. And RC, you know, in the mix, it's always fun racing that guy. And it was a good 20 laps. You know, we just had to dig deep and not get distracted by the lappers or anything that got put to me. And was able to get it done.
In the World Supercross GP points chase, James Stewart was still out front with 232 points, followed by Chad Reed's 216 points and Tim Ferry's 180. The AMA Series had Stewart out in front as well with 188 points. Reed followed him with 171 points, and Tim Ferry was in third with 145 points.
On a frozen night in St. Louis, Missouri, the best Supercross racers in the world have gathered inside the Edward Jones Dome to battle it out once again. Here's a look at the starting grid. Our Dunlop starting grid. All the right names are there. Jeff, how do you get a feeling for tonight's race? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I think we're going to have a great main event. There's been a lot of crazy stuff happen all night long, and the track's got a lot of ruts in it. I think there's going to be a lot of mistakes.
32nd board is sideways. It looks like Chad Reed gets the whole shot.
Carmichael's buried back in the back.
Oh! Down goes TEDESCO. Ivan TEDESCO and Tim Ferry are both down.
And that was Tim Ferry trying to pick up the Suzuki of Ivan TEDESCO, which TEDESCO caused that. He went down in the sand.
Meanwhile, up front, Chad Reed and James Stewart battling hard for the lead.
Here's a charge.
Stewart inside. And Reed comes back, and down goes Stewart, and down goes Reed. And through goes the 917 of Eric Sorby. And there goes Carmichael.
And Reed's got his bike going. Stewart still has not started his bike.
Jeff, we know how hard it is to start these 450s. Now he's away. We had a feeling this was going to be a wild night. Eric Sorby on the 917 leading the main event in St. Louis. Let's go back and take a look at Ivan TEDESCO's incident, taking down Tim Ferry in the process.
Now you watch off the start here. TEDESCO gets tucks the front wheel, and the bike actually flips up and hits Tim Ferry.
Boy, Ferry took that rear tire right in the chops.
See Stewart closing him off, and Reed just comes straight across. He came from way outside, straight across to take them both out. I'm sure he wasn't intending on taking himself down, but just pushing Stewart wide.
And Eric Sorby on the 917 continues to lead here. Carmichael gets around Ramsey. So the Makita Suzuki rider with that red number plate, because he's a reigning AMA Supercross champion, looking to catch Sorby. Oh, Sorby goes inside. It's a slower line, but a good line, and Carmichael takes the lead. And guess what? James Stewart coming like a freight train. Look at him through the whoops. The number 7 already up to 10.
Yeah, Stewart just wheeling through those whoops, not even setting the front wheel down until the little triple afterwards.
Team San Manuel Yamaha battling right here for second. And Reed is past his teammate, Nathan Ramsey. Now, you can see Carmichael off in the distance. Reed about a straightaway behind. And Stewart, head down, charging hard on the Monster Factory Kawasaki. Picking off a couple of more riders, including Millsaps. So that puts Stewart inside the top 5.
We're gonna have to see if he gets a clear track and he hits that rhythm section, does the 3-3-1, because that's going to be the faster line.
Look at how far he goes through the whoops. I mean, he goes by Ramsey like he's not even there. Just incredible. Leg out, ready for the corner, and off he goes.
He is so dialed in right now. He is charging hard.
Talk about a rider in his zone. Look at the battle for second now. James Stewart has caught Chad Reed.
He is unbelievable ride right now. He is charging so hard. It was only 9 laps ago that him and Reed were both on the ground. Now they're in second, third.
Well, he can't rest there either, because 8 seconds in front of these two is Ricky Carmichael. But then again, since Carmichael's not running the entire season, getting just around Chad Reed is like a win as far as the points are concerned.
Well, that it is, but James Stewart likes to win races. He likes to win races convincingly, and he's definitely putting himself in an opportunity here.
And he's got second for Reed.
Ironically, the same corner that they crashed off that first lap.
Was there a little payback in the way that he did that?
No, I think that he just wanted to make it stick. A little bit of attitude, but James knows that the number 4 is out front, and that's the goal. The goal isn't to have any problems with Reed or push him off the track. The goal is to win the race, and so he's got 9 laps to do it. Stewart just comes in with so much more momentum. Now, he was going to take the inside. He darts to the outside instead of taking the inside groove to block Chad Reed. Reed knows he's there, tries to sneak back around the outside. Stewart makes it stick. I think it's pretty incredible. He hasn't just, taken some parade laps during opening ceremonies and kind of rode off into the sunset. This guy's actually still trying to win races, even as he's headed into retirement.
And you know what, Jeff? I don't think he knows any other way to do it. And Joe Nemechek, his teammate at Ginn Racing, here on off Nextel Cup weekend. Joe, a big moto fan, flew up here with his son to take in the races and told Ricky he better get a win, trying to get him going. And it looks like it worked. Ricky Carmichael wins in his final trip to St. Louis, taking the victory in the Edward Jones Dome for the final time. James Stewart takes second, Chad Reed third. Another memorable moment for the one they called the GOMES.
Those 2 guys went down. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if I could have got him. I mean, I rode good, you know, I rode solid, but spotting those guys 4 seconds like that, it just ain't getting the job done. But they had Carnes. Reed got back up, and you know what, dude? He had his chance to get me, and I put my head down, and I was cooking. I'm so pumped to get the win, man. You guys have no idea.
The tempers are flaring down here, that's for sure. James Stewart picking it up at the last second. What was going through your head, and what kind of argument was taking place with you and Chad Reed?
No, I just knew I had to get back up and regroup. You know, I'm in for a long run, and you know, I don't know. So, you know, I'm just happy to be up on the podium. You know, after going from dead last to come back, you know, I felt like it was a good recovery. But we just got to give it to Team Kawasaki. You know, the bike was working really good, and we'll just go to Daytona next week. But it's all good.
And lastly, what words were spoken by Chad Reed to you when you pulled off the track?
You know, I'm just happy to be up here. You know, I'm just you know, ecstatic to be up here, and we'll see each other next week. And you know, no dirty moves from my part. You know, I'm just out here racing for a championship.
Congratulations out there. These guys are pretty tight-lipped, but maybe we can get it from this guy, Chad. What words were spoken to from James Stewart to you when the race was over?
I mean, we were nice. I don't know if we could repeat it, but man, I'm out there to race, you know, and I'm not going to get pushed around like I've been getting. And my starts are awesome, and you know, I felt awful all weekend, and I just wanted to get back in there and be aggressive. And you know, we came together and we both went down. You know, I didn't want both of us to go down this last thing, but you know, it's racing, and I'm super pumped to get back up, get on the podium, and just want to thank all the guys at San Manuel and all the guys at Yamaha. Man, Parts, Thor, Unbound, and all the guys at VP Fuel.
Well, guys, the battle is heating up here from St. Louis.
Despite Ricky Carmichael's main event victory, James Stewart was still out in front on the World Supercross GP leaderboard with 254 points. Chad Reed was second with 236 points, and Tim Ferry remained in third with 186 points. The two main combatants from the St. Louis round were only separated by 19 points on the AMA leaderboard. Stewart with 210 and Reed close behind with 191. Tim Ferry was still holding on to third with 149 points. No one in motocross history had won more races than Ricky Carmichael. But before the season even began, the Supercross legend had announced that this was his last series and that he would only be racing in select rounds. Despite clearly still having the speed and talent to win consistently, the Florida native had decided that it was time to retire, time to go out on top, and that there was no better place for his last Supercross race ever than in his home state of Florida.
What an amazing career it has been. Can he put the cherry on top of the sundae here tonight with one more win in a Supercross race here in the Amp Mobile Tour? Let's show you the Dunlop starting grid. Well, all the right names are here, Jeff. We don't need to talk about that. We know who these guys are. Putting it all in perspective, what are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling that Carmichael's going to have to block out all these emotions and go do his job one more time. You know, he gets out front there, the fans are definitely going to be, they are going to be cheering for him. Well, we're all pretty lucky to be here tonight, and all the viewers at home to get a chance to see this event, and I don't think he's going to disappoint. I think he's going to give us the best 20 laps he's ever given us.
Here we go, we're in the gate. Carmichael gets a good start. He sits in third. Chad Reed, he's going to take the lead. Stewart right behind Carmichael in fourth. And stuck in the middle is Jeff Gibson. Gibson's going to get a wild view here as Carmichael blasts past into second.
Everything's lined up here. We're going to have Stewart's back and forth, but our top three riders are out front. This is what we all want to see. One last great battle between these three awesome competitors.
Last season was a perfect storm as far as Supercross was concerned for an entire year. We get one more look at it right here. And these three great riders put on a spectacular show. And Carmichael willing to give it his all one more time as he battles Reed for the lead.
He knows he's got no time to waste. He wants to try to make a move on Reed right here.
There it is.
The crowd go crazy.
Reed tries to come back.
and spurred him on.
You talk about it, they are reacting to this, and they know number 7's coming too. He's a local boy also here from Florida. The excitement is just unbelievable. You see flashes going off on every part of the stadium from every seating section, and we're only on the second lap.
It has been an electric night here in Orlando, no question about it. This, by the way, the battle for the points lead. Reed in front of Stewart. The championship lying right here. Oh, Reed with a big problem, and Stewart takes over second.
And Reed missed the triple. I don't know what he did there. He is very lucky that he didn't get landed on. Fortunately, Stewart was off to the right.
Now, can Stewart reel in Ricky Carmichael?
These guys, over the years, have so much focused on lap times and battled each other for the lap time supremacy and be the fastest guy. Both riders have the fitness that it takes to race 20 laps wide open, and that is what they're doing right now.
And look at the gap back to Reed. These two up front pulling away.
Stewart was faster by about 4/10 of a second. Right there in the whoop section is where he is making it up. He has got the Kawasaki dialed in, and he's carrying a lot of momentum going across that whoop section.
Genie and Rick Carmichael watching.
Now watch the whoop section right now. Watch how much speed Stewart carries across there. Close right in on the back of Carmichael.
Frightening the pace that Stewart is willing to run through those whoops. That is just total commitment.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets. Carmichael's last Supercross.
James Stewart hot on his trail as they're about to catch the lap traffic.
Now it gets interesting, Ralph. These guys have got to move out of the way and let the show go on.
Cole Siebler on the 90 does just that. And they know if Ricky's coming by, Stewart can't be far behind. Oh, no! Stewart up over the top blocks, but what a save! But that buys Ricky a few feet.
That may be just what he needs at this point of the race. On Ricky makes a little mistake, misses the triple in, and Stewart closes right back up on the back of him. Watch through the whoop section. Stewart has got it dialed. He's going to carry a lot of momentum. Look how fast he comes out of the turn, wide open on that 450 Cowie.
Carmichael, a quick look over his shoulder, almost as if to say, come on, James. Let's have
Here
some
we go.
fun.
To the inside.
Here's Stewart! Side by side, but no contact, and he can't get it done.
What do you do in this situation?
And traffic again in the play.
But Stewart was racing him clean. Look right here.
Oh boy, Stewart with the lead. Woo. Can Ricky mount a charge back? Carmichael coming
Here
back.
it comes.
And the crowd getting back on their feet. One final epic battle between two of the best riders in the history of the sport.
This is amazing. This is what these guys live for, what they've trained their whole lives for. It's coming right
Here's
down to it.
Carmichael trying that inside line. Almost.
The lappers are definitely getting in the way right now. You see VOSS there on the 13, 40. Everybody's getting the flag to get out of the way. The leaders are coming through.
You saw the sign. 5 laps to go in your Supercross career. How much more inspiration could you need? Oh, Carmichael just railed that corner.
Here we go. They're backing up in the final turn. Look how close they're getting. Carmichael's right there.
He can sniff the fumes from the exhaust pipe off that big Cowie from that position. Here he comes, side by side. Back to the inside. Carmichael's in the lead again. Oh.
Takes a look over. He's going to have to back it down, cut back in.
How much fun can they be having right now? And Stewart, once again, the whoop section benefiting the rider on the number 7.
1 to go, and he's mounting a charge.
They just went by VUILLEMIN in our onboard camera. One final lap in the Supercross career on the Mobile Tour for the greatest of all time.
Carmichael,
and his protege.
Carmichael pulls the tear off. He knows this is it. He's got to hit this whoop section. Good to stay close.
Great job is right. Gosler giving the words to his rider. Here they go. Last couple of straightaways. Stewart holding him off to the final corner, and James Stewart will win in Orlando, and Ricky Carmichael will finish second in the final amped mobile Supercross race of his career, and an incredible epic battle to the finish for these two amazing riders.
That was all I had, I was just trying to minimize some of the mistakes. I couldn't get going in the beginning of the race, and that's using my strong parts. And man, that was probably one of the funnest races ever. With Ricky, it was cool because we was looking at each other over the triple and stuff, and it was such a clean race. The last race ever to race against the guy was super fun, and I just got to get up to the team. We pulled it off tonight. I was super stoked, so it was good.
It was an epic battle, like you said. I got a great start and got by Chad, and I looked back and the number 7 was behind me, and I'm like, it's going to be a great night, fun night. And he was behind me, I think, but about halfway maybe. He got by me and I stuck on him like he was sticking on me, and neither one of us was pulling away, and it was just good, clean racing, man. What a great way to end your career on a fun race like that, regardless if I didn't win.
Supercross cruised back into Indianapolis with James Stewart riding high atop both leaderboards. But just as he was beginning to look unbeatable, a poor start would force the young rider to put on one of his most dominating performances of the year. Chad Reed got the whole shot, followed by Tim Ferry and Grant Langston. James Stewart was buried towards the back of the pack in second to last place.
And I don't see the number 7 of James Stewart. There he is, second to last off the start.
Way in the back is James Stewart. There you see him coming through the field. He's right alongside of HEATH VOSS.
But Stewart pushed his world-class talent to the limit and set out to overtake as much of the pack as he could. By lap 5, James had moved all the way up to 5th behind David Vuillemin and showed no signs of slowing down. After passing Langston in one whoop section and Ferry in another, James was now only behind Reed with almost 6 seconds to make up on the leader and only 10 laps to do it. Stewart sped ahead, closing the gap until lap 14, when he found himself right on Chad's back tire. Then, in a display of unbelievable talent, James carved a huge rhythm section into 3 huge triple jumps, passing Reed for the lead.
See right here, James triples. Does another triple,
and takes the lead.
Reed tried to stay with the current world champion, but wouldn't have enough left in the tank to catch up. Stewart took the checkered flag after moving up a total of 18 spots. Chad Reed grabbed second, and Tim Ferry rounded out the podium with a 3rd place finish. His victory in Indianapolis gave James Stewart his 20th main event win in only 33 Supercross starts. Nobody had accomplished the feat faster than the points leader, and James was looking to add to his victory totals in Dallas. Stewart was beat out in the hole shot by a blazing Andrew Short, who led almost the entire first lap before being passed by James over the finish jump.
He's got plenty of time to be patient, but looks like he's about done with that.
By lap 4, Chad Reed had managed to pass Short as well, moving up to second behind Stewart. While Stewart slowly extended his lead, Reed, Millsaps, Ferry, and Short all battled to move up until Ferry finally got around Millsaps to take 3rd.
Ferry's got the line here on the inside.
He does. Nice block pass. He takes over the position.
The top 5 riders remained locked in their positions into the very last turn when it looked like Reed had a shot at taking the lead until James held him off and claimed the checkered flag and the top spot on the podium.
As it's less than 2 seconds, but to the checkered flag, Reed almost had him, and Stewart's gonna take the win. Reed came so close at the finish.
James Stewart had extended his World Supercross GP points lead to 329 points over Chad Reed's even 300. 242 points kept Tim Ferry solidly in 3rd place. The AMA leaderboard found the same 3 riders holding the same positions. Stewart first with 310 points, Reed second with 275 points, and Ferry with 223. As the only man within striking distance of the mighty James Stewart, Chad Reed was counting on having a strong outing at the Detroit stop of the Supercross Series. However, one of the keys to victory at the Supercross level is having a good start, and Reed would find himself disappointed after the hole shot. James Stewart sped out in front of the pack to take the lead, followed by Tim Ferry and Andrew Short. Chad Reed would have to fight his way back into the main battle from a mediocre 6th place start. However, this was only Stewart's second hole shot victory of the season, proof positive that a talented rider could start from mid-pack and still win. After moving up to 5th place early in the race, Reed was able to overtake Ivan TEDESCO on lap 6 with a beautiful block pass in the turn. It was only the first of a series of passes that Chad would make from this point in the track. He passed Andrew Short in the very same corner 3 laps later and made quick work of Tim Ferry in the exact same spot on lap 14. But despite all his effort, James was cruising at top speed, narrowly avoiding lapped riders in the process. By the time the checkered flag dropped, Chad had moved all the way up to 2nd, but in the end, he could not overcome Stewart's 8-second lead. Even though James Stewart only needed a 4th place finish or better to lock up both titles, Chad Reed was still in the hunt. But to keep his championship's hope alive, it would take a perfect round in Seattle and a disastrous round from Stewart. Ivan TEDESCO won the hole shot only to go down early, handing the lead over to Josh Gibson.
And getting the hole shot is Ivan TEDESCO, who's down!
But by the time they rode into the first whoop section, James Stewart blasted past Gibson to take the lead. James was already ahead of where he needed to be to clinch, but Chad Reed was in a state of emergency. Having been caught in TEDESCO's hole shot wipeout, Reed had gone down himself and had remounted in the very last spot. But the talented Australian immediately set about climbing back up towards the front and had worked his way up to the 14th spot by lap 7. Stewart's lead over him had grown to over 30 seconds. James Stewart netted not only his 10th main event victory of the season, but the 2 titles as well.
James Stewart celebrating in front of the Quest Field crowd. It has been such a long, tough season for James Stewart. He has won the Amped Mobile World Supercross GP Championship and the Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Series Championship as his father, Big James, celebrates on the sidelines. James Stewart's dream from when he was a little boy is complete. He is the champion, and nobody can take that away from him.
Well, you know, it's been a long season, and to be able to have this, accomplish these things has been a dream in my life. And man, I was trying to stay real calm, but I was nervous all day long, you know, just thinking of all the bad things can happen. And man, I'm just stoked. I got to give it up to my team, my mom and dad, all the fans here in Seattle. Thank you. And everybody, the FIM, the AMA. It's just, man, it's a dream come true.
One round before the finals, James Stewart had already made it official. The fastest man in Supercross had clinched both the World Supercross GP and AMA titles. James Stewart had mathematically clinched both the World Supercross GP and AMA titles with his main event victory in Seattle. In both series, Chad Reed had a lock on 2nd place, and Tim Ferry was unmovable in 3rd. But even with the top 3 places in each series set, the final race in Las Vegas would be no less exciting.
The final main event of Supercross, and we are ready to go racing with the Supercross class. For the man in the brand new crazy riding gear with all the sequins on it, the big thing now for James Stewart is chasing records. How many can he get? How many new records will he set before he retires? As you take a look at James Stewart, Chad Reed, Tim Ferry, can any one of those guys beat James Stewart tonight here? Mr. Former Vegas winner yourself, Jeff Emick.
Well, there has been some first-time winners here. Matasevich in 90, Larocco 91, myself in 1995. Tall order, though.
Jeff Gibson did utilize his provisional, the 32nd board leaving the track. Here we go, the season finale live on Speed. James Stewart gets his 3rd hole shot of the 2007 season.
Followed closely by Chad Reed. This is just what Reed needed. This is what all the fans here in Las Vegas and live on Speed are waiting to see is one final showdown with these 2 Supercross stars.
Reed on the Yamaha
Reed coming after Stewart. Into the whoop section.
Chad Reed right now has the opportunity to make up for last year for that third place at the final event where it was a similar showdown. Ricky Carmichael was in the mix, but he came up just a little bit short. Here tonight, he has a chance to pressure James Stewart, try to make James Stewart have one of those little mistakes that he's been prone to have.
And here comes Wyndham. The crowd on their feet here as they watch this battle for second.
Well, that just shows you that the 14 of Kevin Wyndham has definitely got a lot of fans.
And the spot. Reed challenges back. Over the triple.
It's a pretty good run by Wyndham there. There's only a couple passing spots available, and I think that the whoop section here, this next one, Wyndham's been cutting down low here. Classic Wyndham style and driving down the left side.
Boy, he is awfully fast through that whoop section. And if he can get around Reed, it would be a season best finish of second place for Kevin Wyndham.
And really pay attention when I was talking about Wyndham riding some low lines, some inside lines where Reed's following the groove. And Wyndham has the ability right there. He stayed low, shortened the track up.
It looked like Reed made a bit of a mistake getting into this fast sweeper. Back into the stadium. Wyndham all over him.
Crowd is definitely into it. We'll see if he can make another move here in the whoops.
Aaron, this is a tremendous fight for second.
As we're able to see it earlier this afternoon when I was talking about tire selection and how it may be key. Kevin Wyndham, for instance, is one of those riders today where they're using a wider tire to try to provide them with a little bit more traction. That may be what's helping him out tonight, or it might just be the fact that he's got his mojo back halfway through the season.
Here's the traffic. How's this going to come into play?
They are definitely in the middle. You see one of the riders backing out of it. It looks like Lewis.
Boy, that slowed up Wyndham there.
Lewis and maybe Carpenter there.
Kyle Lewis, remember, in his final Supercross, running in 15th. He's right in front. That's Ryan Clark on the 32. They're trying to get around. Now Lewis will be in front of him. The seasoned veteran lets them by.
It's definitely tightened up the race, though, here for second place.
5.5 laps remaining. 6 laps remaining.
Wyndham got caught up in that line of Lewis. He didn't quite move out of the way. Lewis in his final Supercross race of his career, which started way back in 1988.
While these two battle over second place, we check in with James Stewart,
who has checked out.
Yes. 15 seconds in front of Chad Reed is James Stewart. James has 2 World Supercross GP titles now and 1 AMA championship as he does the big heel clicker in celebration here. James Stewart on his way to main event victory number 13 here in 2007. Celebrating here in Sam Boyd Stadium.
I don't think I've seen a rider that's been so dialed in as James here lately. This is an awesome, awesome win.
His 13th win in the 2007 season for James Stewart as he wins in Las Vegas.
Man, I don't know what that's called. I call a horseshoe. You know, I can't click my legs to save my life. And, you know, I had a blast out there. You know, it was a fun 20 laps, and that was probably the best race of the year for sure, for me.
I almost had the whole shot there. I got an awesome jump, got down there, and I just went in there a little too hot, and James snuck around there. And man, I wanted to get that number 7 hole shot, but it didn't happen. I want to thank the whole team, all the guys at L&M. They were awesome this year. They were a lot of fun to be around. And Sam and Well, Unbound, Thor, Parts, Yamaha, Bridgestone, Scott, and I want to say hello to everyone on TV, and Brian and Sharice, thank you so much. Love you guys.
Well, I've just been working hard all year in the SORBY No Fear Samsung Honda. Has been incredible, but I haven't been riding it to my full potential. And tonight, you know, I did. The last few races I have, and it feels great to be up here on the podium. I made a hard run at Chad. Thought I was going to get him. I did for one corner, but he got me back really quick. Made a couple bobbles, and that was the end of the night. But man, it felt good to make a charge, and as always, feels good to be up here on the podium.
James Stewart's strong performance over the 2007 Supercross season not only solidified his reputation as the fastest man racing today, but also as the heir apparent to Ricky Carmichael's Supercross throne. but a stunning mix of young talent like Davey Millsaps, Andrew Short, and Ivan Tedesco, and KG veterans like Kevin Windham, Tim Ferry, and former champion Chad Reed will make sure that no championships are set in stone. It's why they train. It's why they race. It's why the best riders in the world can always be found in Supercross.